Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. Welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina Pike. I am so happy that you're here today. Today we're going to be talking about a project that I've been working on all year long. It is a mystery knit along. Every month I get a new clue from the designer and I get to practice a different type of pattern, stitches, and if you guessed, yes, this is the Japanese sampler scarf. The pattern is by Tony L. Lorenz. I'll link all of the information on how to get the pattern in the description box below. I believe it's US $6, but for what you get for this pattern, I think it's well worth it. Now, Tony L. Lorenz is using these books from Hitomi Shida. These are the Japanese knitting stitch Bibles. For her inspiration, and I'm going to show you which patterns she picks for this month. Now for the other months I've done the same things. Like for January I showed you the inspiration in these books for what she used for January and March, February, March, April, May, and June. So now we're to July. We're finally getting caught up. I had to do June and July this month. I got a little behind. Don't know how that happened, but I did. I found myself behind on this project and on the other project. All right, let's get going. This is the project. I'm using Manus del Uruguay Fino yarn, and it's getting so big. Usually I can sit back and hold it, and you can see the whole thing in the view. Now it's to the point where you can't even see it in the view anymore. Look at this. It's getting so big. Hey! Alright, I've shown you all of these. I'll show you quickly and then we'll get into July. This was January's through that where that clip is. I have them all kind of clipped off. That was January's. Beautiful cables. I'm learning a lot about how you can orient stitches a little bit differently. From that cable to this next cable is February's. Look at those gorgeous wrap cables. Oh my goodness. Stunning. Then she started bringing in, I believe there's a heart there for like February. And then March, she started bringing in leaves for like spring. Just stunning. This yarn has great stitch definition too. This is part of April's. In May, getting into those wrap stitches. I loved these wrap stitches. You take 7 stitches off, hold them out in front and wrap them twice counterclockwise and then put them back on and knit them in different ways. She had some baubles come in with more of the leaves. Now this, and then we had for June, I just showed you guys June, which was this. Let me go a little bit slower. I kind of flew through May. And then that's June, which I just showed you with all these gorgeous twisted cables in the center of this. And then this new mock cable on the edging. Now, before I get into July, this edging is all the way the same on both sides, this first one and that one. But then you can see the second inner cable is always changing. Like this one, backside. Okay, this was July. You can see how it closed up, and now June's, and then now we're to July, and here we are again. It's opening up, and look at this stitches for July. Oh, so beautiful. And yes, if you're looking closely, you can see we are bringing in some baubles or noops stitches. All these are baubles. All of these bauble stitches. All of these bauble stitches. Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And at the end of this video, I have another video that tells you 3 ways to do a noop or a bobble. And that's a pretty good video because it involves, it shows you different ways, like just not with knitting needles. But then I'm going to show you at the end of this video the stitches, which are going to be the bobble stitch, and then a couple of different cables for this month. Most of the other cable stitches are just similar to previous months where I've showed you some of the stitches, but that'll be at the end of this video. And if you don't want to watch it, you can just stop the video after I finish showing the scarf. But if you want to watch it, I'll show you some special stitches for this month and a couple of ways to do a noop. Alright, this cable, this one that's running along this edge and all the way down the scarf, is based on pattern book 260 195. I'm going to show that here, and so you guys can compare how she drew inspiration from that. And then the rest of this for July is based on book 250 patterns 39 and 40. And I'm going to show you 39, and then I'm going to show you 40, and then I'm going to show you what this looks like so you can see the inspiration for this. I just love this design. I love these noops. I love them. I love that she did it in a leaf shape. Just really makes that area pop out, and when we block these, they're really going to be open and beautiful and just full of texture. And then this cable here, changing from last month to this, is just so full of texture and twisty and turny. Now these were done with double yarn overs as well. Very interesting, beautiful design. I'm really enjoying the Japanese lace. This is my first time to do Japanese lace, and it's just so it's just a different way. They're not hard, it's just a different way of orienting the stitches. This pattern is a charted pattern. I won't show you the chart, but it is charted. There are 2 pages of stitch definitions that can be a little intimidating. This chart, it is more complicated in the fact that on the wrong side rows, you have to do what's opposite of what's knitted. So like, say you see a knit stitch on the wrong side row, you're going to purl it. So you see that, you think, I'm a wrong side row, I got to do the opposite. Like you see a knit through the back loop, you have to think, and it tells you on the legend, but you have to think knit through the back loop. If you're on the wrong side row, means purl through the back loop. So that's the only reason why it's complicated, because of the wrong side rows. You have to kind of think, wrong side row, don't do what it shows, do what it says to do on the legend. So I share that with you in hopes that maybe you'll want to buy the pattern, knit this along with me. I would love to have you guys knit this along with me and get to know a little bit more about Japanese lace, and then at the end you have this beautiful scarf pattern. And also another thing with doing these sampler scarves, there's like any one of these designs could become a design. Like you could take this design for July, incorporate it into a cowl, like knit this over and over, and a cowl that goes around your neck, or just a scarf based on this one pattern where it doesn't have all these different patterns changing. I mean, so you can draw inspiration from these types of projects in any way you can. And it's the same way with my international lace scarf pattern. Like all these different little lace patterns can inspire you to do a bigger project or a different project with one of them. So let's get into the special stitches. Like I said, I'm going to show you 2 simple cables. One is a right leaning cable called the BF. Alright, I'm going to show you how to do this right here, the cable 1B 1F right leaning cable stitch BF, and then I'm going to show you how to do the FB cable 1FB, I'm sorry, at 1F 1B left leaning in 2 stitches. And again, these are 2 stitch cables. You can do them with a cable needle, but I'm going to do it without a cable needle. Alright, for the first one, which is the 1BF, you're going to hold the stitch in back. I'm just going to hold it in back. I'm going to move the stitch to the front. and then I'll pick up that stitch like that, and then since that's repositioned, these 2 stitches, now that you've oriented them the correct way, crisscrossed them, all you do is knit them just like that. Then we're going to do a simple left leaning cable involving 2 stitches, just the opposite of the one we just showed you, called FB, holding the cable to the front. Very simple, new for this month, but not new to this project. Alright, the next one's the FB cable. You're going to bring that to the front, and then you're going to switch this like this. So you just bring it like that. Since it's already brought to the front, put them on your needle like that. These 2 stitches are knitted, and that's how you can do 2 stitch cables without a cable needle. Just hold it to the front or hold it to the back, and then pick it up with your other needle. And there you go. And then the next thing I'm going to show you guys is a noop. And as I was knitting this noop, I realized I did it the way she said to do it, a 5-stitch noop. And I'll show you that. Okay, I'm about to knit a bobble stitch. If you don't want to knit a bobble stitch in this, you can place a bead on this and just knit the stitch, because a bead can be substituted for the bobble in this pattern. But I'm going to do a 5-stitch bobble. So I'm going to put a stitch marker here to help me know which stitches I have on the wrong side is where I close them up. So I insert my needle here. I'm going to do a knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit. That's 5 stitches. I'll put the other stitch marker so when I get on the wrong side, I know I have to close these 5 stitches together with a purl stitch, and that will make the bobble. And that's all you have to do. Okay, I'm to the point where I've got this marked off. These are the 5 stitches for my noop. I'm on the wrong side, and it's time to close them. So you can carefully insert your knitting needle in as if to purl. This is a little tight. I probably should have made it a little bit looser and thought that through better. I haven't done enough on this in a while, so now I'll know for the next time. You pull it through, purl through like that, through all 5 stitches, pull all 5 stitches off the hook, and that's what it ends up looking like. On the wrong side, it'll make a little bump. There you go. And that's it. That's all you do. You take that off, and you've made a noop. Or, I'm sorry, a bobble. Now, as I was knitting that, you can see I was struggling to get my knitting needle through all of those stitches. And as I was knitting this, I was like, this usually is a lot easier. And then I was like, oh, that's because I do a 7-stitch noop. So I did a 7-stitch noop after I did the first 2 as a 5-stitch, because I realized it's much easier when I do 7-stitch. And that, let me show you how I do that here. One of the things I wanted to show you, I remembered this after I did that first row of bobbles, is that you can also do it this way. Instead of doing like just a yarn over, you can do a double yarn over like that. So it makes it a 7-stitch noop instead of a 5-stitch noop. But instead of the yarn over, you do a double yarn over, and that's what it ends up looking like. And then when you get on the wrong side, you close it up. I'll show you how to close it up when we get on that wrong side. Okay, I'm to the point for the other bobble. Again, I made this 7 stitches because I did a double yarn overs instead of a regular yarn over. So first thing you want to do is that's the double yarn over. You want to undo the double yarn over to make it 1 stitch. And again, that's a double yarn over. Just unravel it like that. So now you have 5 stitches to make your bobble. You slide them back to the other needle, and look how much room you have now because of that. And you purl it together, and there you are. There's your bobble. As you can see, that's a lot easier to get your knitting needle in, because that double yarn over gives you a lot more space, and then you just pull the stitches out after you release it, make it even, and then you can get your knitting needle through there a lot easier. That's also another trick for knitting I'll explain another day. So Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this stitch here. It's the BL cable 1B1 FL, and I'm going to use a cable needle, hold it to the back. You're going to knit through the back loop, and then knit through the stitch on the cable needle, and that's that stitch, and that's what the cable looks like. Twisted, nice twisted stitch. And now I'm going to show how to do this stitch, the LB, which is a cable 1FL1B. Okay, so you put the stitch on the cable needle, hold to the front, and you knit one, and then, whoops, knit one through the back loop off the cable needle, and that's what it looks like. These stitches get all twisty and turny, but it's part of the design. I mean, look at these, they're all twisty and turny and leaning, and that's the beauty of it. So I hope you've enjoyed this project. Thank you for letting me share this with you every month. I enjoy knitting this so much. It's one of my favorite things I think I'm knitting right now, and I look forward to getting a new clue. I am sorry I got behind that you've had to see 2 clues this month. I'll try to stay more in line with it as we go along, and if you are new here and this is the first video you're watching of mine, I do like to talk about knitting and crochet, a little bit of crochet, trying to bring a little bit more of that into my talk here. And I like to talk about yarn, and I like to learn about you. I don't like it to be just about me sharing my projects. I like you to share your projects as well with all of us. And I do a What Are You Knitting series and showcase people's projects who share with me and allow me to share with the group, our family. So we'd love to have you join us, is what I'm trying to say, and let us get to know you a little bit better. To all my friends and family who are here, I love each and every one of you, and you guys make this a very fun place for me to be, and I hope I provide that for you as well. I hope you all have a lovely day. Take care. I will see you all very, very soon.